Welcome to the farm.
Welcome to the farm and to part 2 of our recent storm damage cleanup. I'm Justin. If you haven't seen part 1 of the video, I'll put a link to that in the description. Go check that out. But in the end of that video, we left off, we were cutting up this big log that I pulled out of the bushes, and camera died. Dana came home, Cadence came home, and it was time for family time, so I didn't get to wrap it up. So today we're gonna finish cutting up this big stump, and we're gonna take care of this big bush that it fell on, that it got all damaged. So I think the first thing we're gonna do, just because the branches are kind of hanging in the way now, I think we're gonna grab the pole saw, cut some of those branches off before we start cutting up this big log. All right, well, that gives us a lot more room to work without getting smacked with branches. Let's go ahead and grab the big saw, get the rest of this cut up. It's funny to me how yesterday cutting the rest of this up seemed like such a daunting task because I was so hot and so tired. Came out here today, 10-15 minutes, all cut up, ready to go. So yeah, now we can go ahead, grab the tractor, load up all these rounds, and bring them over to the splitter. All right, so now we got all the big rounds cleaned up. It's time to turn our attention to this bush here. And I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a saw, we're gonna start cutting off some of these branches and stuff, just so we can get in here and see a little bit easier and see what we're dealing with. So this big clump here is all one big root system. I'm not sure that I'm gonna be able to pull that out with the truck. We're gonna give it a try and see what happens. Otherwise, I'll just probably end up kind of cutting it all down and then I'll deal with the stump later. All right, so I'm gonna take my chain and I'm gonna wrap it around as much meat on this thing as I possibly can. Well, broke the hook right off the chain, and I don't think that thing even budged. I had a feeling the hook was going to come off just because of how these hooks are put on. They just have like a split ring here, so I'm sure that just separated underneath the strain. So I'm going to go get a heavier chain, and we're going to try again, see if we can get anything to move. All right, so I got a much heavier chain, wrapped up a little bit higher, and I only went around the 2 center ones here. I don't know if those are just going to end up breaking off or if it's going to give enough leverage. Again, I really don't think this is going to work, but let's try it anyway. Well, that went pretty much exactly how I thought it was going to. It just snapped those 2 right out. I did notice that there's a big root right here and another one right here. So I think what I'm going to do is dig out around these a little bit, see if I can cut those 2 roots, and then maybe that'll loosen this up enough where I can get it to pivot out. Won't know until we try. All right, so I got those roots cut. I got my chain hooked up around this big mass right here, and we're hooked up to the truck. Let's try again. Well, I think we're just gonna cut that tree down. Broke my strap. And that's why I use a strap and not just chains the whole way. I've learned my lesson the hard way with that. I had a chain let go and actually came back and hit the truck, almost broke my back window and stuff, left like dents in the truck. So I always use a strap now, because that's going to be the weakest point, and I'd much rather have a strap break and go flying than a chain or a cable. But anyway, we're just going to cut that down and we'll deal with the stump later. Well, I have successfully made another huge mess. So yeah, I'll get going cutting, grab a tractor, get the saw going again, start cutting all this up. All right, so we got everything cut up. We got all the big branches chipped up. We made a pretty good pile of wood chips there behind me. I'll end up moving those to wherever I want them later. But now what we need to do is get the tractor out of the way, rake up all the little debris, and see if we can't get that chipped up. Well, that's finally done. Let me tell you, that took way longer than I was anticipating. I thought I'd be able to knock that out one afternoon, but there's a lot more to it than what it looked like, and I am beat. But looks awesome. We turned it into a big pile of firewood to split and a massive pile of wood chips. So can't beat that, and I had fun doing it. Just want to say thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.